Beautiful, very beautiful. You're sharing your screen, by the way. It's black, McCall.
No, see, he has two screens. I see him in one. I saw him
Right.
on one
Was
playing.
it black
Yeah.
the whole time?
Yeah, I'm seeing a black shared screen, but I could see you, yeah, in
Yeah.
your other square, your other rectangle. Gina, thanks for joining us for VIP. It's so good to see you. We can't hear you because you're muted right now, Gina.
Finally got to join in. Yeah. Usually my
Yeah.
Mondays are a hectic day. I have meetings and traveling and all that. So
Well, we're so happy to have you with us. Thanks for joining us today. Hi, Berta. Hi, Steve. Hi, Victoria. Hi, Sel. Hi, Mark. And of course, hi, McCall. Great job with the opening song. Man, I love that. It's just beautiful. So today is VIP day 3, and the structure for this, Gina, to fill you in, is just kind of open Q&A, open office hours. You can ask any questions you want. We all learn from each other's questions and from the coaching that ensues. The questions, of course, can be about today's lesson. Today, we talked about the art of influence in the master class, and you might have some questions about that. They can be lingering questions you have about the lessons from day 1 and 2, and they can also be about things that we have not talked about at all that really aren't the nature of this challenge, but have something to
yeah.
do with your coaching business or your life or what your needs are.
Yeah. So actually my first question has to do with the challenge from yesterday on sending the text messages. I'm just getting started. So I'm at 0 level right now. So I'm just where I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to do a website or if I'm just going to, or not, or just, I'm right at ground zero. So my question is, and I didn't do the challenge, and I'm going, okay, well, if I set this out there and I don't really have something set up for them to actually go into, so I guess that's my question, is like really kind of start. For me, I have been coaching. It's the nature of my current position. I work for a direct sales company. And I think besides sales, besides my love for sales, it actually is, I'm a branch manager for Southern California. So I have about over 100 people on the field, and who I coach and train in sales and things. And my passion for coaching and the reason why I want to open up my own, as an entrepreneur in my own business is in sales, of course, but it's really focused for women like me at some point in time that over 45 years, over 45 years of age, found herself in having to start from zero from a major life event, and they're a single mom. So I started with direct sales, which really was a great way to get my feet wet into entrepreneurship, even though I actually became an employee of the company because I was successful. But I now want to give back. That's kind of what my expertise. And one of the things that I really want to do it is with a Christ-centered ministry, a Christ-centered business entrepreneur, that I can freely talk about Jesus. I can freely say, like right now, opening up, with praise, our meeting, those kinds of things. I just want to have that freedom to do that. With the right now, I don't. I have to. I mean, everyone knows I'm a Christian. Everyone that works with me knows that I'm a Christian. But of course, because it's not my business, I have to be careful in what to say and all that.
Little more covert.
Exactly.
Cool. So you want to run a Christ-centered, be like kind of a Christ-centered sales coach for women.
Kind of like what you do. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. I love that. I would love to be your coach. And I know that you probably have a lot of great sales expertise you could bring to us and some ideas you could share with us. And I'd love for you to, learn what we're doing and bring that into your coaching business. There's way more than enough prospects and clients out there for all of us. And so yeah, I'm hopeful that we'll collaborate and learn from each other. And as far as being brand new, I don't think that you do need a website right away. My former company I worked for before starting Faith to Influence, they were called Epic Impact. They didn't have a website I mean, we were a $1 million plus annual business with no website,
Oh, wow.
all from people we knew and referrals and things like that. Now, I don't think you should wait till you're a $1 million plus business to have a website.
Mhm.
Obviously, we had some deficiencies on the team, some missing pieces. Having a website's a good idea, but it's not essential for a brand new coaching business. Here are some of the, could I share some of the things I think are essential starting points?
Yes, please.
Okay, cool. I think this would be helpful for several of you. Um, what we believe in, and if some of you do end up in our sales school for coaches, we require all of these things I'm going to share to be certified because we know that they're important kind of building blocks. So like
Mhm.
setting up the business, first, I'd create an LLC so that you have a real business. You can do this on
Mhm.
LegalZoom.com. I think there's cheaper, maybe better ways to do it, but that's relatively cheap. It's very easy. And so if you don't have a better option, just take the easy way forward and set it up on
Mhm.
LegalZoom.com. Once you've got an LLC, then you'll get an EIN number. You don't have to set that up. It's just going to happen automatically. It'll take a couple weeks maybe from the LLC being set up. But once you have the EIN number, that allows you to open a business checking account.
Okay.
I went to Chase Bank. They're right in town here by me. And I opened up my business checking account. I also got a business credit card. I highly recommend that. These days you can get, like 2% back, cash back. We've gotten thousands of dollars paid back to us by using a business credit card and paying the business credit card off from the checking account. So that also gives you, by the way, like a little runway. It gives you a little bit of like having a business credit card can be like having a loan to a certain degree. As a brand new business, it's possible in the early months that you will spend more than you earn. That's not really
Mhm.
fun to think about, but it's
Yeah.
reasonable that you might spend a little bit of money on marketing. It's reasonable that you might have a coach or a mentor that you spend money on. It's reasonable that you might, when you do want to start a website, pay somebody else to help you do it rather than fumbling through it on your own. So having a business checking account and a business credit card is really helpful because of the credit that the credit card allows you, like a little bit of space to work inside your business.
Mhm.
But I also think it's important that when people pay us, they don't pay Justin Janowski, they pay Faith to Influence. From a tax perspective, this makes taxes very easy.
Mhm.
Also, all of my business expenses are done on the business credit card. So it's very easy to differentiate between business and personal expenses come tax time. Now, certain things are business expenses that might in the past have been personal expenses once you have an LLC. So like gas, travel, eating meals um, out and things like that, like can oftentimes be great write-offs. So when something like that is somewhat of a personal expense but can be written off in your taxes is put on the business card, you've just got clear records of things. I don't want to confuse you. You don't need to go too far down that rabbit hole, but having
Okay.
a business checking account and a business credit card is smart. And having everything that comes in or goes out of the business to be funneled in and out of those accounts is what I would recommend. I pay myself from the business account to my personal account.
Okay.
We use a service called Gusto for payroll, which allows you to pay yourself or other team members as W-2s or 1099s. It's
Okay.
very, very easy to use. Additionally, you'd like to have a Stripe account or other payment processing service. Square is another one. You want to be able to accept payments via credit card.
Okay.
And that's it. So like have an LLC, a business checking account, a business credit card, and then a Stripe account where you can take a credit card payment. Stripe takes like 3% or so of the payment, but that's the cost of doing business. You're going to make sales you wouldn't otherwise make if you can take credit cards. So that way you're able to professionally accept a client. You don't need a website to professionally accept a client, especially if you're starting out by reaching out to people who you know in your personal network and asking for referrals. I rarely have people ask me about something they saw on my website. I rarely have ever in 3.5 years made a sale on our website. I don't know that we've made a single sale from our website. In fact, in 3.5 years. Now we're probably underutilizing the website, but websites don't usually make sales until you're a very big company, spending a lot of marketing on cold, a lot of dollars on cold marketing efforts through social media and things like that. So The first things to do are those things so you have a real professional business, you can take a payment. Then after that, you need to make sure that you know what you're selling and what the price is.
Mhm.
That's what we talked about on day one of the challenge. If you're able to watch a recording, were you able to get to that yet?
Not yet, but I am aware, I am familiar
Right.
with it. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Day 1 and 2 were really about that. So we're designing your business model, designing your price point. Once you've got something to sell that's clear with a clear price and you're ready to take payments by taking the steps I just went through, then all you have to do is send a text to somebody and say, hey, I'm starting this new business. Here's what I'm doing. You came to mind as somebody who I'd like to talk to see if it might be a fit for you or someone you know. Are you open to having a call? And then start having conversations. That's all I think you really need. That's like the bare minimum of what you need. Website's a nice to have. A podcast is a nice to have. An email list is a nice to have. A funnel is a nice to have. There's so many ways to get confused in this business thinking that you need to have a lot more than you need. What I just went through is all you actually need. Maybe a
Thank you
Zoom
so
account,
much.
maybe a paid Zoom account.
Right. Well, we got that. Thank you,
Cool.
Justin. That helps a
Yeah,
lot.
you're welcome. You're very welcome. And then there's a lot of things, obviously, you're just going to slowly add over time. But what I see coaches do sometimes, um, yeah, templates, legal stuff, that's cool. We have coaching contracts. I typically I've never held anyone to a contract. I think most of the times we make a sale, we give a contract. Sometimes we probably don't. In certain cases, like certain of our products have always had a contract, certain ones have not. If somebody's in an annual program with me and they're like paying monthly, and at month 6, they're like, I just can't afford it anymore. I'm going to have a conversation with them. I'm going to find out if there's truth in that. I'm going to ask some good questions. And ultimately, like I'm going to run my business probably different than a lot of entrepreneurs do. And if somebody doesn't want to be in the program anymore, I always let them out of the contract. I still think it's a good idea to have one. So yes, definitely take a look at that if you want. And I don't know Bobby, but I've heard his name several times. I think he's doing good work. So that sounds great. Thank you for that, Sal. But what I've seen a lot of coaches do, and I'll move on to the next question here in a second, is I've seen coaches get caught up for months or years doing things that make them feel busy, but do not produce sales.
That's me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. We had a client, she's a health coach, Trish Marmo. Trish ran her, and she's happy to share the story. She's given it to us on testimonials. Trish ran her coaching business for 7 years without producing any revenue. She was negative or even for 7 straight years running her coaching business. Most years she was paying for different programs, paying for courses and coaching. She was typically losing money every year for 7 years, doing all kinds of crazy things like trying to create funnels and email lists and newsletters and podcasts and websites and things that felt like she was really running a business, but she never really was running a real business. It's a real business once we have somebody paying us consistently. And in her 8th year, she did $10,000 in profit, which was massive progress. Then she came and worked with us, and we helped her rewrite some of those stories she had about sales. She thought sales was really like this naughty, bad thing, basically, and it was holding her back. And once she rewrote the stories and had her breakthrough around sales, she started holding sales conversations, and she started charging, instead of $27, like thousands of dollars for the really impactful, amazing work that she does. And in the next 12 months, she did over $80,000 in business. 7 years of 0, 1 year of 10, and then boom, 80,000. And what was the big difference? Like, she was pleasantly surprised. She would text people and ask if they wanted to have a conversation and get on a sales call, say her price with confidence, and people would buy. She just never thought that would happen. And she never tried for all those years. So most of the things coaches do are like a representation of sales avoidance. What I'm trying to help coaches do is find a very easy way to get on sales calls with good quality prospects or potential prospects and either ask for the order or ask for referrals and get their first few sales under their belt. Everything else becomes really easy once we have some revenue and we have a real business and we have real clients. Okay, who's next? Who else has a question? And Gina, that's totally normal. That's been almost a year. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to make you feel bad about that. It's totally normal. And awareness is the first step to transformation.
Yeah, and that's why I'm here. I mean, I think, and the reality is for me, because I'm able to I have an earning from the current
Yes.
company that I'm with. So that also kind of,
That's different too. Yeah.
it helps me procrastinate on what I need
It
to do.
does. Yeah. You don't have to, it's like an extra thing. There's maybe not as much urgency. And so like I remember quitting my job to start my business and like having to do it. I actually wrote the first business plan for Faith to Influence like 8 months before I started the business and did nothing with it. I kept working my other job. Once I quit my job and this was the only way to provide income for my family, then it was a must and I showed up in a completely different way. So you can make it a must for you without quitting your job, but there has to be some kind of like action or moment or line in the sand where you say, this is a must for me. And so I've seen people make it a must by quitting their job. I've seen people make it a must by hiring a coach or joining a mastermind group. That is a significant investment because that makes them a little bit more pot committed. And I've seen people just draw a line in the sand for themselves in one way or another, like jump in a freezing cold lake and get out of the water and say like, this is a new start, and decide that they're going all in. So there's different ways to do it. But let's all find that. What's our action that we can take to make it a must? Other questions? Yeah, Sal.
I wanted to discuss with you my mission statement and
Yes.
also wanted to apologize if I overstep. It's just that I'm just so used to on
Great.
my end, like you need malpractice, you need a contract. So I didn't need
Yes.
to overstep by that.
Oh, you did not overstep at all. And I think that it's very smart to have contracts. Very smart to have contracts. And I really appreciate you sharing a resource. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to pull up what you posted on Facebook. You can tell it to me as well. But I just want to see the written word that you had on this.
Okay.
Okay, here it is. So, oh no, that's your second post of the day. That post was awesome.
Thank you.
Or was it all in one?
I think it was earlier today. I had written that my mission statement was
I'll let you come in.
Christian women physicians who wanted to pivot their careers and become a mompreneur. I can't even say it.
Yeah,
Mompreneur. So they can be there for their families while creating businesses that serve others, create income, and is in line with their biblical values. And I had 2 questions, whether the niche was like too detailed and working with moms who wants to be entrepreneurs, like creating their business, or they already have a business and they need help with moving it further along.
What do you think is your skill set to help that potential mompreneur launch the business? What are the things that you think that you're good at helping them do or learn?
I think I'm still learning, but managing having like babies and a business at the same time. Also reevaluating whether or not they want to stay in medicine or not, and how that would work with family responsibilities and starting a business. I think time management, even learning the value of like hiring a babysitter for a day a week to give you some time.
Yes, gosh.
Which is what I'm doing right
simple
now.
things like that.
Right?
There are so many mompreneurs who just need someone to tell them it's okay to hire a babysitter. Gosh.
Like it actually took my husband like 4 months to convince me.
Yeah. That's okay. So here's what I would say. There's a part of me that's wondering I mean, I like the super narrow niche because you could become really known in that market. And if you feel good about that, then I'd go after that market. However, if you were going to expand, I wouldn't take away the mompreneur part of it. I
Mhm,
would take away the physician part of it.
mhm,
I know that your comfort zone is with physicians. However, if you're really trying to help somebody launch their business, the fact that they used to be a physician before they hired you uh, doesn't necessarily matter, probably.
right.
So if you wanted to have a bigger, more open net, you could work with mompreneurs.
Mhm,
Like, or it could be in like employees who want to leave their job and become mompreneurs, or who want to start a side hustle, and you
mhm,
help them like launch the side hustle, and there's a period of transition to help them then launch their full business. However you want to market it, I think mompreneurs is the key. I think like that's your gift, is going to be able to serve those people. And as you said, like you're learning it, you're going through it right now, which is perfect. You don't need to be perfect. You just, I think like that specific audience too needs community.
right.
And a lot of like, I think about my sister-in-law, she's a stay-at-home mom, and she needs more community. She needs more support. Like whatever, and she's not doesn't have a physician background, but if she had a business idea, whatever it was, and she was able to get together with a group of Christian women who were also at-home moms launching businesses, I mean, like it would just bless her so much to
Mhm,
have that community and not feel alone,
right, right,
so I think it's a huge market and a great gift to give.
right. And
So I think
especially
it's up
just
to you
having
if you want to
community as
continue.
well.
Yeah, I think it's up to you whether or not you want to continue to have like the physician piece of it.
Mhm,
I guess I don't know physicians well enough to understand like how many Christian physicians currently working in that job want to leave and start a business right now. I don't know.
that part has been hard because when I was doing the list of 25 referrals and prospects, I had none.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that was really hard to,
But you know some moms, right?
yes.
So if you really don't have anyone who fits that target market, I generally feel that that's probably not the right starting target market for you. So
Mhm,
I really like you just being like, I work with mompreneurs.
mhm.
How do you feel about that?
I feel, I think okay with it a little bit. It's mixed, like relieved and scared at the same time.
Yeah. What part of it makes you feel relieved?
Mompreneur is more broad, and I think it's more like it's easier to talk to them and find them. I felt when the physicians were moms want to start a business, it's like I don't even know where to find you, to be
Mhm.
honest.
Yeah.
So, and I think it feels more relief because I never understood until I became a mom how difficult it is.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly thought having a baby would be easy and I could manage everything. I'm like, no, I was completely wrong within the
Right.
first month.
Yeah. I mean, like immediately you could run a free workshop on how to have self-care as a mompreneur, how to
Right.
prioritize self-care as a mompreneur, how to set boundaries as a mompreneur,
Mhm.
how to honor all parts of you as a mompreneur.
Mhm.
Like there's so many different things that are needed there. And like if you just help people get some structures in place around getting a babysitter, around like setting certain boundaries for themselves, around like self-care ritual, I mean, it would immediately change their lives and their businesses.
Right.
You
Right.
just get a few more moms to like find 10 minutes a day to go on a walk by themselves without their kids,
Right.
or to take a bubble bath or whatever they like. I mean,
Or even wear a clean
people
shirt,
need
which has
that.
no spit up.
Right, right. Yeah, gosh. I don't know how mompreneurs do it. And some of them don't know how they're going to do it either, until they find you.
Right. Right.
So I think it's really good. What part of it feels scary?
I think letting go of the physician part, because I think there's also that identity
Mm,
shift
yeah,
with it.
yeah. Hmm.
Is it possible, quick question, Justin, is it possible for Sal to be able to just start the main as the mompreneur and, and then have like, like they do in college and then a minor with physicians? Is it
Yeah.
possible to maybe still have Sal incorporate the physician part of it in her mission statement, but not being the main point, not the starting?
It could be slightly confusing if the physician piece was in the mission statement. That's a good question. But if the physician piece was in the mission statement, then the non-physicians would probably tune out to a certain degree. They'd be like, oh, that's not for me. What I would consider is if you're willing to give this a shot, if you start with mompreneurs in general, then you can see what you attract into your community and you can narrow from there. So maybe if you still, physicians are important to you, you still try to bring physicians into the community. And if you find that you get a niche of physicians, then you can have an offshoot inside of the community, or it can become the full thing. So example, like we started with male entrepreneurs in general. And like 2 or 3 of my 12 clients or 15 clients were coaches. And I realized I liked working with them the most. It was the most compelling for me. I was the most helpful there. And so then I transitioned over time into working just with coaches instead of entrepreneurs in general. And I think the same thing can happen for you. I think Gina's onto something here, which is that, but I think going around it the other way, saying, okay, I'm gonna work with mompreneurs. This is what I'm gonna do. You might find like the mompreneurs who all come to you, like are former teachers, or they all want to start an online business, or they all are, realtors. Like you just get more realtors than anything else. You're like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to help realtors. Or it might be physicians or something else. But I think it's easier to start with the mompreneur and then narrow it into a niche there.
Okay.
And I'm just not sure the reason why I guess I'm open to seeing if you want to let go of the physician piece is I'm not sure that the training that you're going to offer is physician specific in any way.
Right.
I know that you have an identity of like being comfortable with physicians, knowing their background and their experiences, but you're not necessarily coaching them to stay at their job. You're talking about coaching people to leave their job and create the life they want at home, which I don't think is going to have, I don't think it would have different content for physicians who want to leave their jobs versus teachers versus people who've already been stay-at-home moms that just want to start a business for the first time. What do you think?
I think it depends. It again speaks to a very small group of those maybe fed up with healthcare and how the pandemic has affected their jobs.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
And maybe want a career shift. But again, it's finding them and seeing, you know
better than I do. And I would trust your judgment on this better than mine. And you can pray on it too. I think Victoria has something for you.
I do. I have a statement and a question, if it's okay.
Okay.
For you. So I just wanted to thank you for your just your openness and your transparency. Like in that very moment, it was, gosh, it just felt like you were bearing yourself to share. But I was wondering, what if like her heart is just calling for physicians so much. What if instead of just a flat out physician, what if someone wanted to leave and come into like just the wellness, like a wellness, nutritionist coach, period. Like if it was still a physician, but like maybe if they wanted to broaden just what they were doing so that it would open up to a more, a wider market. What are their nutritionists and, health coaches, just so it would not be as narrow, because you said you were having a hard time finding them, but there's a lot of that, like just health and wellness and nutritionists and in that, which are like physician health kind of based,
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good idea too. Yeah. So either healthcare workers, like Mark's saying in the chat, or the wellness industry in general, or there's the super narrow physician specifically. And you can do that. I mean, if you can find your way into a narrow niche, like I said before, you can become very well known in that niche. And so that's the positive part of that. Or there's the more broad, just mompreneurs in general. And so I think you're gonna know. I I hope that it's helpful to receive the ideas. I think that was a great idea from Victoria. I think Gina had a great idea. I think Mark had a share in the chat for you. And now it's probably time for you to pray, maybe talk to your husband, get some
Yeah.
time away from a computer screen and a phone to sit and think for a few minutes and decide what you think is best for you in phase one of your business, in the first steps.
Right.
A reminder for you and a reminder for everyone is that we can pivot whenever we want. It's a cool thing about being an entrepreneur. So what I would like to invite us all to is like, even this kind of decision, like I do know coaches who this sort of exact decision would paralyze them for months or years. And they might never really launch because they're like kind of caught in between, should I do this or this or this? And I don't think you're that person. What I want to encourage you though is to say that something is better than nothing.
Right.
Done is better than perfect. And so I would challenge you. We've got 2 more days in the challenge. If you're up for receiving the challenge in the next 2 days to decide what's your launching point.
Okay.
This mission statement. Who's your launching target audience? And 3 months from now, you can change it if you want. 6 months, a year. I'd like to see you in a place though where you could begin to build a real business model around that target market, a real offer, start having conversations and start moving your business forward because the world needs your help. These moms need your help.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to start. I actually just want to start,
Yes. Cool. So you can do this. Whatever your gut tells you within the next 24 to 48 hours, go with that.
Okay. And
Okay.
definitely
None of them are wrong. All of them can be right. It's about what feels right for you for right now.
Right.
Okay. Good.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone.
Great questions. Thank you so much for bringing it. Okay. Who's next?
I have something, Justin.
Mark.
Awesome. So, I've been talking through this with my wife and everything and praying and looking at, I wanted to kind of dial back what I was looking at. Like, I know, I want to help people who are in a transition from A to B. So like the statistics on that, the average civilian, and I say that because I'm in the military, the average civilian changes jobs 12 times and they'll change companies or positions every 3 to 4 years. I've done that. I've done that for 21 years. I haven't done something twice. And it's, from like tanks to intelligence to recruiting and sales to, these aren't like common things. These are drastic changes. Tanks to intelligence is and I've navigated that, and especially at the senior levels, going from one industry to another, and I think that's where I want to go because I've done it so many times. My real question is, like, I know I can, and I know I have done that in the military. I've helped other people do that in the military. I've coached and mentored and led for 21 years, teams, as big as like 150. I get the business side and like the sales. I was a recruiter. I know all about sales. It's like the program. Like, I know I can offer something. I know I can offer value. I can help. I know I can help people. I just don't know how that is, like if I was doing a 5-day webinar like this, or like a 6 months challenge, or, I don't know what that looks like for somebody but I've done it. I know I can help somebody. I'm very confident in that.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay. I receive all of that, and I know you can do it also. And thank you for your service. I know we said this, but my wife went to the United States Air Force Academy, graduated from the academy, and so she was active duty teaching psychology was her active duty job. So nothing like tanks and intelligence and stuff like that. But her friends refer to normal people as civilians too. So I'm used to that. My brother's 20 years in the military. I think we talked about that. So super cool. So you want to help people in transition, and you're not sure like how to put together the program. And it sounds like maybe even like, what are you selling them, but also like, what's your content and how's that look and things like that. So I've got a few thoughts on this. And one is to say that I'm going to give you as much good feedback as I can today, and we've still got 2 more VIP calls to give you as much good feedback as I can. And I'm not gonna hold anything back. I'm gonna give you the best I can give you. Also, I know we talked about this, I think yesterday, briefly. If you do decide to jump into sales school with us, McCall kicks sales school off with a one-on-one 90-minute call with you, specifically about your business model. As I know that this is a lot. I'm teaching to like, 50 people at one time. And even in VIP, there's a lot of people here, and we're covering like everything that we normally would teach in 6 months in 5 hours. So it's a lot. It's coming at rapid pace, and some of you are brand new. Most of you are brand new in your business journey, and so it's a lot to take in a short chunk. Very best case scenario, you sign up for sales school. We're your coaches for the next 6 months at least, and we can help you step by step over a longer period of time with all of this stuff. If you can't do that, if that's not a fit for you, we're going to keep running these free challenges. Keep coming and hear the same thing, 7 times, and it'll set in over time. So like, worst case scenario, come to the challenge over and over, sign up for VIP. I suppose that's a great hack, because then you're paying very little and getting quite a bit. But I would love for you to be in our program. And if this is all we see you, I'm going to give you the best I can right now, which is to say, you may want to start, I really believe in scalable group programs. And that's what I kind of shared on day 1. I believe in a program that has group elements to it. I believe that even this time together is richer because of each of you in it than it would be if I was with you one-on-one. I'm not that interesting or that good of a coach. And already, like, Sel got great feedback from other people during her share and encouragement from other people. And you all are beginning to get to know each other and appreciate each other and empathize with each other. And you're in the same step of the journey. So even when you're asking your question and Gina's head nodding, like she gets it, like that's important. So I believe in group programs. I believe that your program takes a ton of pressure off of you when you make it a mastermind or group coaching program. My mastermind for Christian coaches is filled with exceptional coaches who encourage and love on each other and have great wisdom and feedback. And if I can't make a call in that mastermind, if McCall and I both couldn't make it, they could run the call for each other and have it be just as impactful. They would like to see me occasionally. Otherwise, they'd be like, why am I paying Faith to Influence to do this? But they really do lead each other very, very well. It takes a tremendous amount of pressure off of me to not feel like I have to do it for anyone, because there's a whole group full of leaders supporting each other, going through the same challenges, having one-on-one calls with each other. Community is just so important. So I think it's a lot easier for the coach. I think it's a lot more valuable for the client to have a group program. And I love a group program that has group calls weekly or every other week over 6 months or a year. And I love for that group program to potentially include some one-on-one calls. Either like you get 2 one-on-one calls as like a bonus in your program, because people will want some time with you and you'd probably just give that to them anyways. Or if you really like one-on-one and it's energizing for you, then include that like once a month in your program. And you can still have a good handful of clients offering something like that. I also really like live event experience. So I like to include 1 or 2 live events in that program. Like my super ideal best program there is like a group call every other week, a one-on-one once a month, and 2 live events a year. And then besides that, like a Facebook group where people can connect and share wins and celebrate each other and all of that. That's like a simple, awesome program. And that program's probably, depending on the market you're in and what you do and how long you've been a coach and things like that, that's probably a $5,000 or $10,000 program. There are people in the marketplace selling that as a $20,000 or $25,000 or $30,000 program, believe it or not. That's awesome. I believe that that's the direction that we should ultimately go in if we want to serve the most people, if we want to have the greatest impact, if we also want to have the greatest income opportunities so we can be effective in providing for our family and our church and our community and all those things. Repeat which part of it? Oh no. What I like a program that's like group calls every other week, one-on-one calls once a month. If I was a client, like, and I wasn't in the coaching world, I sometimes I'm a little bit more careful of my time because I've got family, little kids, and I'm already doing so many coaching things. But my favorite program, if I was just a salesperson like I used to be, and I was getting coaching, I want an every other week group call, a once a month one-on-one call, and I want like 2 events, 2 live retreats, 3-day retreats, and I want it to be an annual program. I pay for the year up front, I get a discount. If I can't afford to pay for it up front, I want them to let me split it up over months. I'd love to pay monthly. That's what I would like as a client. That's what I think is really fun to deliver as a coach also, without it being overwhelming. And then that's like phase 1. Once you scale as a coach and you have enough clients that the one-on-one coaching is getting really heavy, then you stop offering one-on-one coaching to new clients. Program price goes down a little bit, and it's now just the group calls, because you run out of availability if you want to continue to scale. All that said, if I think that's like an awesome program to design, I also think that if you're a brand new coach and that sounds really intimidating or big or scary in any way, Mark's saying no, but in case it is for anybody else, having a one-on-one coaching offer is also a nice way to just bring in some revenue. It's easy. It's easy to make a sale for one-on-one coaching. It's all virtual. You don't need to coordinate anybody's schedules. You don't need to have a whole lot of technology. You don't need to do live events. Like, you just have a one-on-one call every other week. And when I was brand new, I had my signature offer, that program I just modeled for you guys that I loved. And I also knew that if I was on a sales call with someone and for whatever reason that group wasn't a fit for them, that I could pivot to my one-on-one offer. And when I was brand new, it was 2 calls a month for $400 a month. Now, if somebody wants 2 calls a month, it's going to be probably between $700 and $1,000 a month. I also just don't want to do that very much because I just have a limited amount of time. I like doing group. It's really fun for me. But that's nice. So I just want to say, like, if you're like, oh, I'm brand new, all this stuff is so complex, it's okay for you to be like, okay, I'll coach you a one-on-one call for 50 minutes every other week. I want you to commit to 6 months or a year, and we'll do it for $400 a month or $500 a month or $700 a month or $300 a month. Nothing less than that. And so that's a very simple thing, especially if you feel like you need some repetitions. You could get a few one-on-one coaches and then launch a group program and maybe invite them into the group program at a discount so you can launch your group that way. So that's certainly an option. Additionally, like when you think about, and so we shared on day 1, like what all these things are valued at in the marketplace individually. So when Gina was like, well, where are you getting those numbers from? Well, I do sales for a lot of different coaches. So I've seen tons of offers. So I know the range. Like, most offers in the marketplace are 10 to 30,000. Most coaches who are Christian, who are new, charge a lot less than that. A lot of them charge way too low of a number, and I have to help them take care of their side of the deal, make sure it's a win-win, not a I lose, you win. That said, each individual thing was broken down kind of in that chart on day 1. Here's how coaches typically value a one-on-one call. It's in this range, a group call in this range, live event in this range. You'll see me make an invitation on Friday And I'm going to break it down on a slide. It's going to be like, okay, you get this, it's worth this much. You get this, it's worth this much. You get this, it's worth this much. The total value of the program is this. And we're going to sell it to you for this. We're going to give you a big discount. Additionally, if you buy now, we're going to give you some bonuses, this, and this. We're going to give a ton of bonuses because the next sales school doesn't start till January. And this is our first time selling something that's that far away. And so I'm going to be like, okay, if you're in August for the January 6-month sales school, you're going to get like almost a full year in our program, because I'm going to give you a free workshop every month between now and January. I'm going to give you 2 coaching calls with me between now and January. You're going to have your coaching call with McCall between now and January. So you're basically going to get 11 months with us, because I want everyone to start in January at the same time. So that's like how you design and make an offer. Is that a little helpful, Mark? Okay. And then the other thing I want to speak to is like creating content. And there's a few different ways to create content. If you're not ready to create content, just get one-on-one coaching clients, talk about the subjects you know things about. The one-on-one coaching is just about asking questions and helping people commit to solving their own problems. So you don't need any content to do one-on-one coaching. That's why it's another reason that can be an easy starting place. But as far as creating content is concerned, one of the ways you can create content is to share somebody else's content with permission. I would be absolutely fine with you teaching Faith to Influence's rules of engagement. Just say, hey, what my coach teaches these rules of engagement, and I think they're awesome, so I want to share them with you all. And we can learn from this. You teach it with confidence, and people don't care where it came from. They just care what they're receiving, and that's a value. You can certainly read a book and share some of the concepts you received in the book. You can't base your entire program around somebody else's book, but there's no question that you can have a piece of content here or there, things you teach and talk about that you learned from others. The second thing is you can take structures of how people have taught certain concepts and teach inside of those structures, but make the concepts and the lesson inside of it your own. So for example, you think the rules of engagement is a cool idea for the values of your community and teaching people how to show up and leadership and things like that, then great. David Lee, one of my clients for 3 years, took our rules of engagement and he calls them his guidelines of engagement. And they're different. 2 or 3 are very similar. He's got 4 or 5 of his own. He's just kind of made it his thing. It's different, but it's a similar concept. That's fine. If Gina's wow, the art of influence is really interesting. I hadn't thought of teaching that. Yeah, I'm mostly structure based. Here's how you run a sales call. Here's how you respond to objections. Maybe she likes the art of influence concept. Absolutely, go ahead and teach something like that. Maybe she calls it the art of connection or the art of sales or something different. I'm fine with that. And maybe she uses some similar concepts and some different concepts. I mean, everyone who teaches anything is teaching from their life experience to some degree. It's a mashup of all the books they've read, all the people they've talked to, all the experiences they've had, and they learn from a lot of other people, myself included. There's no question that my mentors have shaped and formed a lot of what I know and what I teach about sales, and my former sales companies I worked for and all those different things. And they've all kind of mashed up in my head. My unique experience shares it in my language, right? So another example of this is John Maxwell wrote the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I read that book. I thought it was a really cool book. I thought it was a really cool concept, laws of leadership. So I wrote my own 15 laws of uncommon leaders. And they're not his laws. I read the book 6 years before. I don't even remember what his laws were, but I remembered laws of leadership. And I wrote my laws of uncommon leaders, 15, and shared them. So you can do that. I mean, you can be laws of leadership, or you can say the 7 keys to transitioning from one career to another with honor. And if you just have that idea, the 7 keys or the 15 keys or the 5 things or the 3 things, numbers are great. If you're just okay, I'm going to 7 keys of transitioning with honor, I guarantee if you just sat and thought about that, you could come up with 7 keys right now. There'd probably be something to do with how they leave things better than they found them. You know, that old concept, leave it better than you found it. So how to transition well from what they previously did, and then how to enter well, and then how to pre-frame their family members about this new season they're going to be going through, and how their family could support them well, and how they're going to be doing their best to support their family while they're going through a time of transition. And maybe there's something in there, if it's Christian based, about prayer and inviting God into the transition, not trying to take it all on your own. And there's probably a number of other good things that you could just come up with if you took some time. So the third idea is, rather than like teaching somebody else's thing and giving them credit, or creating something that's similarly structured to other structures you've seen, but teaching your own content inside of it. The third is to have something totally original, which of course is still not totally original because it's coming from all the leaders, all the mentors, all the books, all the coaching, all the stuff you've received in your life. We all share with each other, which is a beautiful thing, is to try to create something more original. So what we just came up with, like the 7, I don't even remember, things about how to transition with honor, the 7 keys to transitioning with honor. Great. Here's what you could do. You could say, okay, my topic is transition. And then you could say, this is recorded. And then you could say, if your transition is your topic, you could say, what are the different pieces of content that are needed in transitioning? And you can come up with an idea like what we just did, like how to transition with honor, and come up with content on that. Maybe you could have a whole separate content piece on how to exit and how to enter. Maybe there's something about, like, maybe you have content around family transition versus work transition. And you probably contextualize to your audience that, like, listen, some of you are going through a work transition right now, and this is just what you need. Some of you are settled at where you're at in your career, and we never know when God's going to call us elsewhere. You might have a transition come in 6 months from now or 6 years from now. And so this can be helpful for you. The other value is your spouse might go through a transition, or a friend, or someone you love. And so I want everyone to pay attention to this, because you can receive and you can also lead others through transition like this. And then you're going to teach the family transition. A lot of you are not going through this right now, but if it were to happen that you lost a loved one, that someone in your family was going through a period of like marital strife or divorce or things like that, like, here's how you can transition thoughtfully through these things. So you might have these different bubbles. And if you just came up with the topics, the ideas of what people need that you can bring forward, then you can come up with the 3 or the 5 or the 7 things. And that can develop and grow and be better over time too. You just need a starting place. The whole art of influence today was 6 words: identity, state, story. Tony Robbins teaches something like that. Connectivity is a word that, like, my former company used. Communication and leadership, I thought, are really important in sales. There's 6 words. I don't even have slides to like break those down further. I just speak from my heart about them every time, because I know those 6 concepts are important, and I've got something a little different every time. But you can have very specific slides on these things. So same thing, if Gina's thinking like she wants to help women in sales, she'll probably have something about like mindset and the inner game, like that would be a topic area. And she would be like, okay, here's the 7 keys to a bulletproof mindset in sales. And then she probably has a topic on how to structure a great sales call. She probably recognizes that people need to learn referrals. And so and prospecting. So she's going to have a topic on that. And then she probably says to herself that there's specific challenges that women face in direct sales that men don't necessarily face. And she wants to speak to those specific challenges. And that's part of what makes her community great, that it's specifically for women. And there are not a lot of places where you're going to find people talking about specific challenges for women in direct sales and how to overcome those challenges. And so, like, maybe she has this like web of here's my different topics, and then she starts to just kind of write down the key concepts, and in certain content pieces, like, it's a staircase, right? This is taking a structure. You could have a staircase piece of content. I mean, like, the vast majority of the time, I'm like, here's the 7 things. I teach the 7 things. But staircases, pyramids, make nice visuals, circles. I mean, like, go to PowerPoint and go to like the different design features they have. Like, oh, here's one way to design content. Have a circle with other bubbles around it. Have a staircase. Have a pyramid. There's only a few things that people use over and over, but it's always fine to just say, here's the 3 keys. Here's the 5 steps. Here's the 7 laws of XYZ. Start there, and then you just develop it further over time as you get feedback and learn. Is that helpful? I remember having a big, those Post-it boards with like, you can pull it off and stick it to the wall. I had one of those standing in my my first office, which was like this tiny little concrete, literally on all, is it 6 walls, including the floor and the ceiling. It was just all concrete. It was like a little storage container that I turned into my office at our first house together. And I had that little whiteboard up in there, that Post-it board, and I just started writing stuff on it and posting on the walls. And I don't consider myself a great creative, which is why my content has like 6 words on a page or 7 steps. It's very simple, but it doesn't matter. Simple is good. People can follow along with 7 steps. They can count. And delivery is important. Go ahead, Gina.
I just wanted to say, because you just touched on something, I was just thinking about it. This is the first time that I've actually joined on the VIP and stuff. And by the way, thank you so much, Justin, because you mentioned Tony Robbins. I've taken a training with Tony Robbins. I've taken a training with other mentors and coaches. They're amazing. But here is the thing. Right now, when you were saying, that's not me, I'm simple, and everything that I'm getting from you right now, I can tell you has been of more value to me than everything that Tony Robbins is great, but he's like, sometimes I get lost. I'm like, okay, I need a break. I need a break.
Yeah.
And so I'm not creative either. So I can completely relate to your very, just simple way of handling this is it, and just speaking from the heart. Because I know with Mark, Mark looks like he's very well spoken, but sometimes those of us that speak very well and it comes easily to us, it's harder to put it on paper. It's harder to put it in black and white and to figure out that content. So I just wanted to put that out there. So thank you, Justin.
Thank you. Thank you. That means so much to me. And that's the crazy truth is, like, none of us have to be the best coach to be the best coach for someone. And like, Tony Robbins is never going to appeal. I like some of what Tony Robbins does a lot, but he's never going to appeal to me as much as a Christian mentor would. And so like, we have to find our tribe, and we're all going to find people like, yes, like this is it. And Gina, you and I were sales nuts. We're cut from the same cloth. We're the same kind of people. So I'm so happy to hear that. Thanks for that positive feedback. And hopefully you'll be able to join us for VIP the next couple of days.
I think it goes back to what Sel is trying to do and what her mission and her, figuring out where her niche is. Yes. I think this is where it's really important, in the sense that the people that are going to connect with you are going to connect with you because of you, who Sel is. So even if you, let's say you take out the physician part of it, or maybe you figure out how to, at the end of the day, once you start getting out there, as Justin mentioned, and really start coaching, you're going to, that physician in you, that part of you is going to come out in that conversation, and you're going to begin getting referrals that maybe at the moment you can't find. So this is where I think, and I'm still trying to remember, Justin, I have no idea how I ended up here. I have no idea.
I don't know how you ended up here. Probably a Facebook ad, I'm guessing. Was it a Facebook ad maybe? And which is awesome.
I have no idea. I know at some point in time I started actually researching Christian coaches. So maybe somewhere there was a lead, or I don't know, but I'm glad I did it.
Well, I'm so glad too, Gina. And I really want to encourage you to go back and watch anything that you've missed recording wise so far. Like even like last Friday's rules of engagement lesson. And then Monday, if you missed Monday, because I do think some of the business model stuff you just need for you, but anything that's like sales and leadership related, like you probably are going to want to teach similar concepts, and you might want to teach through similar structures with your own content. And so I would love for you to just take whatever you can from us, and hopefully it inspires your business a little bit more. Cool. Okay, we are at 5 East Central Time, 5 Central Time, but I've got a few more minutes. So if anybody has more questions, I know we haven't heard from Victoria or Berta yet today. I've given very long, lengthy answers here, but I'm happy to go, as much as 15 minutes over, maybe even a little bit more. My wife and mother-in-law are picking up the kids today, so I've got some extra time. So what do we have? Victoria, Berta? Berta, yes.
I've been taking tons of notes, and this is all so good, Justin. Thank you.
Yay, good.
I think the big aha came earlier today. Thank you for calling me out on the whole money mindset and sales mindset thing. But I am good. I've got pages and pages of notes.
Yeah, you're good. You are good. Thank you, Berta. Victoria, what's going on with you? What's happening in that head?
I'm kind of in that same boat. Like for today, it was the same way for me. And it less of a question and more of, if there was time, I literally just wanted to thank you. I was talking today about all of the different things that I've hit, purchase on, all of the $27, $47 templates, and this $97. And I kind of chuckled with a friend today about this, even though it was real estate, it was like a $9.97 course. Like, I'm like, I gave somebody my card info for like some Grant Cardone thing for like $9.97 for this workshop in December. And like these young sales guys, like they just sold me right over the phone. And like I got this instant download of this whole course and curriculum, and it was such a big purchase for me that was uncomfortable and outside of my own box. And I never even opened the email. Like I haven't done anything with that program. So for this, and then I've done some, master classes with Facebook groups where the webinars are recorded. So they might be a week long, but it's a recorded webinar. So this is like my first, and I've done a few of those, and I noticed within those, like by day 2, I'm already not making it a priority because it's recorded. They're telling me it's live, but it's recorded. I'm just going to see the replay in the group, and then like I may or may not commit to go back and watch those replays. So this value for me of like just really, I know it's something within myself as well, but just your level of service, and it's almost making me commit more to me because you're so engaged. Like, so you're here and you're answering everyone's questions, and you're actually taking the time to read the comments that are in the chat, and then you're answering, and then we have this separate VIP where we can like ask our questions. I haven't experienced a master class like this before. So this just means a lot to me. And like even friends and family are like, hey, I'm like, if you text me in between this time and this time, I'm not answering. And then also, if you text me in between this time and this time, I'm not answering. Also, don't call me. Also, like, don't look for me to be available right after, because like I'm going to be going over my notes. So yes. I just like, I don't know. I just wanted to thank you for like the service and the level of commitment and effort that you're offering us. Probably for everybody else too, but just for me, knowing that like I'm at Wednesday and I made it it's like a super priority for me to like make sure I get through to Friday, and like no matter what, like even yesterday, Firestone, like I had a 1 o'clock oil change appointment and I didn't leave there until like 3:45, and just I remember sitting there so frustrated, like I don't want to be driving home during the class. I want to be sitting and taking notes. But normally I would have been like, hey, I'm gonna stop and get lunch. I'm late. There was just would have been this whole process of excuses to not make the 4 o'clock, but just because of your level of service, it's making it a priority for me.
Hmm.
And you know,
Thank
it's a really big deal. And I thank you for just, you know, letting me be a part of this journey. And I don't even have a company name yet. So like I'm, you know, like I'm completely
Great.
like at the beginning stages, but this still means so much.
Thank you.
Someone seconded, like seriously.
Yes. Thank you, Gina. Thank you all. Thank you, Berta. It's my pleasure. You've been a perfect student, Victoria. And like what you were talking about, like literally telling them don't contact you during that's honor immersion. When we do a 3-day live retreat, like we encourage people to tell their family, tell their friends, like tell their important business. Like I'm going to camp. I'm not going to be reachable for a few days. Like we'll even like give McCall's number or something, so like they could reach you through McCall, so your phone could be off. Like that's like real honor immersion. Like you've been a great example of the rules of engagement, the way you've shown up, like every one of them. Leading with love, you just did it. Being curious first, critical second, you've done in every one of these VIPs. You've been asking good questions, you've been curious, but you've also been paying attention to everyone else, not judging anyone, just taking notes on everybody else's questions. You've honored full immersion and also full presence listening. And you've been a learner rather than a knower. You've shown a lot of humility. You've been an amazing student. You've done a great job. So thank you so, so much. I really appreciate the way you've been showing up.
That was awesome of you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it encourages me to work with people like you. And I like working with coaches who are brand new because you don't have any bad habits. So, you know, if you're willing to just do the work, great. It's nice to start from a fresh slate. I work with some people who've got years and years of bad habits. I like them too, but it's not bad working with somebody who's brand new, who's willing to put the real work in. So it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you, Victoria. And I'm like you, like I can't watch something if it's already recorded. I like McCall recorded what I'm sure is a super awesome prospecting message. And like I'd have to like really have McCall like really ask me. If McCall really asked me, like you told me he recorded it and I could just go and watch it, but my personality type is a very hard time with that. And if he said, could you please watch this? I would do anything that McCall asked me. Could I please do? Just about. So I'd go watch it because it was McCall, but anybody else, I probably wouldn't. Like I have a very hard time watching recording. I have a very hard time reading someone's email that they send out. And so we don't sell a lot of stuff. It's like a pre-recorded thing. We've done this same challenge many times and we could share the recordings of the previous challenge. And that sounds like a really nice idea, but I just don't think it's the same. And so I'm happy to spend the time and teach it again. And you might be the same way, Victoria, for your clients. And also you might just make a commitment to yourself right now that you're never going to buy recorded courses ever again. Because you might as well know yourself. It sounds like you've got a few pieces of evidence. You don't need to buy recorded courses anymore. And like, you know, what ends up happening is like, oh, this is only 97 and this is only 997 and this one's only 47 and this one's only 27. And by the time you're at the end of like all of those, you could have just hired one great coach to work with you live or been in one great mastermind to build great relationships, get referrals, and have live coaching and accountability. And my voice is about to the end for the day. And that would be a lot better. So just know yourself. No more of the recorded stuff if you're not going to use it anyways. Some people can do it and they love it. But if you can't, you shouldn't. I'm going to wrap up here because my throat lasted just till now and now it's gone for a little while. So I'm just going to stop talking. I love you guys. Thank you, Victoria. That meant so much to me. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.